Hey guys, this is Versus Z bringing you a video review of the high-grade Universal Century GM Type C featured in the OVA series Mobile Suit Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory. And welcome back to the video review, guys. If you want to check out an unboxing video for this model kit, I have that for you guys to check out, and also a small build series that's both featured on my Versus Eclipse channel. So if you haven't seen those, you can go ahead and check those out by clicking on one of these guys right over here. So in the meantime, let's talk about the model kit. This model kit was released by Bandai in 2010 and retailed for 1,200 yen. The GM Type C, or the GM Kai, is a successor unit to another GM called the GM Precession Type that was featured in the 8th MS Team, another OVA series. This mass-produced general-purpose mobile suit has improved thrust and maneuverability compared to the original GM. Alright, so now let's take a closer look at this guy. He isn't actually white. He comes off more as an ivory, which is actually kind of good. I thought it was a little bit awkward at first, and I didn't really get used to it, but the more I got closer to completing the kit, the more this ivory and navy blue really grew into me. And I kind of look at it this way now: if I ever do get a new Gundam, I might just decide to go and give it this ivory and navy blue instead of the white and black or whatever color it is. Sorry, but anyway, so taking a look at this sculpt, it's pretty good. If you're already into getting into the high-grade Universal Century line, you know that articulation really isn't their cup of tea. It's rather more of the design aspect and sculpting of the model kit, and this really shows here. And even though it's just a simple looking mobile suit, comparing it to kits from, let's say, 00 or Destiny, the sculpting is really great. Details are not missed at all. Thrusters, and even how the parts are separated in the parts trees. And speaking of part separation, this guy's got really good part separation. He needs no kind of foil stickers whatsoever, although you do come with a sheet of these peel-offs, or these marking decals, stickers still. So you've got 1 through 00, you got EFSF. This yellow piece here goes onto the yellow V on the red piece of the crotch, but you can always paint that instead. You have this little blood splatter symbol and other symbols that you can put all over him. I'm going to put these on later on because I planned on either painting them a different color or just giving them a matte finish, because I actually am growing into this color scheme. Now, like I said earlier, high-grade Universal Century kits don't really focus on articulation too much as they do with detail and sculpt. But for a grunt suit and for a kit coming from the high-grade Universal Century line, it's really not that bad. It's actually pretty decent, and it actually works for me. He has a ball-jointed head, which gives him the forward and backwards, up and down, left, right. You can actually get his head to tilt a little bit too. The arms are on a peg system. It's not a peg and ball joint, so it's just a peg, simple peg. You got a little bit of forward and backwards, rotation. The armor is separate from the arms, but the arms can really only stretch out from the body that far. You have a bicep swivel, nice elbow bend, which is really impressive, and a ball jointed wrist. There's polycap in there. The waist is on a peg, so you can rotate that pretty far. Front skirts come molded together, but you can separate them as I have here, so you can lift those up. Legs can go kick out about that far, kick backwards that far, out of the body only that far. These side skirts can go up that far, but it doesn't really matter because the legs can't go out that far anyway because of how the details molded up in there. Back skirts are stationary. You have not a hole to use for the stand. This kit does come with a kind of a custom peg that you can mount on an action base and then use that for this. But I don't really put this guy in an action base anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's all good. It's just a simple ball joint here at the hips, so there's only that rotation. It's kind of a double jointed knee bend, but you're only going to get a little bit over 90 degrees, and that's perfectly fine with me. It doesn't really matter. If you noticed in the build video, it's kind of weird how the leg is attached. It's definitely different from what I've built before, but I just wanted to kind of point that out. And it does feel like the legs are a little loose because of how they're connected. It's not loose to a bad degree, it's just not very tight. Anyway, the skirts here, these little ankle armors can go up and down. You get some flip-flop movement. So back, up, it's a ball joint there. Yeah, single ball joint up there. And you can actually rotate the feet. Aside from the ball joint, you can actually rotate the feet because they're attached. These ankles are attached into the feet with a peg, so you can get a little bit of rocking movement there. Another thing that I want to point out is these little ankle things here kind of pop out a little too much. This one for some reason likes to pop out more often than the others, so you might want to glue those in as well. If you can see these thrusters back here, they're only attached into a tab. They're very secure, but if you're set with the model kit, you can glue those in as well. So yep, that's the articulation. Actually very decent, and it does work for me. May not be the best compared to other kits that have been released up until now, but still pretty good. Alright, so now the accessories are as follows. Starting with his manipulators, you do have 2 closed fists, which are on him right now. You have 2 reaching out hands for both hands. You have a trigger finger for the right arm. You have a basic holding things hands for the beam saber for the right hand only, and then for the left hand you also have this kind of open palm, kind of holding the machine gun. If you want to have him holding the machine gun in 2 hands, you could do that, or even the bazooka, you can do that. And then there's also a swivel, not a swivel, but a hinged little wrist joint here, so you can have that as well. He also has a shield, which is really nice. Lots of details under there. This piece here is very it's pretty much like the same kind of shield attachment that you get with the Titans gun, or not even the Titans, but just the Gundam Mark II version 2.0, where you have this swiveling piece here and it hooks into there. This peg goes into the back of his forearms, and there's holes in both arms, or both forearms, so you can have the shield peg back here. You can have it slung off to the side or underneath, or off to the back of his forearm. So you have that. You also have the 90mm machine gun. This is only one variant that this GM has. There's a second one that comes with the GM Cannon 2 and the GM Custom. So if you have both those kits, or you plan to get them, then I guess you could swap weapons. But I don't really like it because this ammo pack is underneath, and that would mean you'd have to hold the gun kind of off to the side like that. It doesn't bother me too much, but I prefer it this way. And now you also have this hyper bazooka. Well, I don't know if it's hyper bazooka, but you have the bazooka, which also looks just like the one that comes with the Gundam Mark II. Nothing here, nothing too special except the handle moves. So yeah, there you go. That's all his accessories. And he also has a beam saber handle, a hilt that goes back here, but no beams. It does fit the Universal Century beams with the rounded peg, not the squarish ones that come with like 00 and stuff like that. So just so you know. There's one more thing I wanted to point out before I went ahead and closed this review. The extra manipulators, the top parts of the hands, actually don't come painted just like these guys. So if you want to complete this model kit, you're going to have to find yourself some kind of ivory colored paint and finish it off. I for one don't care, and I'm never going to do that anyway, because the manipulators that I use with the gray tops usually hide under the shield anyway. Yeah, you can call it being lazy, but alright, fine, it is called being lazy. Okay, so for my final thoughts on this model kit, I really like the way this model kit looks. From his colors to his sculpt, it's all different to me. I really did step into a whole different world starting to build this model kit, and I'm glad I did, because now I really want to pick up more GM type suits like the GM Custom and the GM Cannon 2. It's all thanks to this model kit, and if a model kit can do that for you, then it's already a good model kit to my eyes. So plus points for that, GM Type C. His sculpt is pretty good. I like the color separation out of the box. The build experience is actually pretty interesting. It was weird building the legs and how they kind of assemble together, but I really like the way the elbows came out. You have smaller details like underneath the visor, it's some kind of circuitry thing that make it look like there's actual mechanics going under there, so if you want to highlight and paint those, you could do that as well. This guy doesn't come with anything extra, such as a tray to hold the separate manipulators, much like what comes with the GM Cannon 2. It's unfortunate, but that's just nitpicking, and it's not and it's me really just trying to find something bad about this model kit. If it's anything bad about this model kit that I really want to find, it's the fact that I don't have the GM Type-C wagtail parts. And I'm thinking a lot of fans probably got this particular model kit so that they can get the GM wagtail parts and turn this kit into the GM wagtail, which is probably one of the more badass looking GM type suits I've ever seen. But with that being said, this particular mobile suit, or this particular model kit, stands on its own really good. With the base price of 1,200 yen, you can compare it to model kits in the same series, the GPO1 and the GM powered. Now you feel like if you're thinking about the GM Power and the GPO1, you're probably thinking you're getting more plastic compared to this guy. Yeah, you might be, but like I said, this kit probably was released in high grade form, so that way you can get the GM Type-C wagtail, so fans could have a little bit more fun with that. I for one think this kit is still worth picking up. Yes, it's 1,200 yen, and if you compare it to other kits that feel like they have more plastic to it, if you're into the GMs, if you're into collecting GMs, I think this is definitely worth it. This is my first GM, and I'm glad it is, because now I've stepped into a whole world of model kits that I probably never would have thought of picking up, and I'm glad that I came across this model kit. So that being said, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got something out of this. Hope it was insightful. Remember to check out the unboxing video and the build series if you want to see how this kit turns out. Thanks for watching again. See you guys later.